All right, gentlemen.
Hello.
So welcome to our new ultraviolet indoor air quality and UV comprehension training, as I like to call it. This is what we've been pushing out for weeks now, helping get everybody aligned with the ASHRAE guidelines, the CDC guidelines, and just helping people in general understand UV in relation to the technology that ultraviolet provides, but also just helping people stay aligned with what is already public and what is already considered professionally standard in our industry. So as a quick refresher, I work a lot with Meier Supply, Shawn. So for you guys and Shawn Kresge Electric and mechanical and HVAC and all the solutions you guys do now, don't hesitate to reach out to me, and obviously through the Meier team. Tom and the whole team over there in Wilkes are definitely regular. Well, when we're not in a quarantine, regular visitation by me. So I've been doing this a while. I do a lot of these trainings, as you can tell. I have all the technology. So if you ever need future training down the road, I'm also their Speed Clean rep and the Pro One thermostats rep and a lot of other stuff. So now let's dive in here. Just help people understand what is the agenda of today. So real quick, we're going to be just defining the standards of IAQ technology. There's a lot of verbiage that comes out of the ASHRAE guidelines. So people don't understand the differences between terminology like UVC and UVGI. Everybody, including our president, just tosses out, oh, UV in general. And that's a very general statement and can be very dangerous. So we're going to clarify that. And as I hinted, we're going to stay aligned with the ASHRAE recommendations and adherence. And then help you understand what Meier's already working with and what some of the other products are available to help you guys align the right solutions for your customers as well. So, all right, so that being said, nice, simple, basic mock-up image here. I just love to start off with this because obviously this could be a standard attic install. We remind people that it's about when, where, and why. And one of the biggest questions I ask people, if I was a contractor stepping into a home or an office for a commercial solution is, what are we solving for? As far as ultrafiltration is concerned, they're covering three main areas: filtration, UV disinfection, and UV air purification. And we like to clarify that because there is a difference. For example, like in this mock-up, upper right-hand corner, we're showing you, that's an example, one of our straight-through boxes with our high-end, either MERV 11 or MERV 13 for better air quality, pleated filters. Actually, I'll show you later in the presentation, there's a unit outside of that marked coming in from the return to go through the system. That's our ionizer. We actually have ionization technology as well besides UV. And then as far as the main mock-up here, this is an example of how, hey, we teach people how to put proper filtration in, keep coils clean with coil lamps. I'll show you that in a little while. And then we have induct solutions that are, you can put in a plenum to address air purification before it is sent out to the home, to the office, etc. So those are basically three main phases that we'll be focusing on.
Okay. So
I'm going to get all the buzzwords out of the way right away. So we're going to help. There's UVGI, there's PCO, there's ionization. A lot of people don't understand them. Some they do, some they don't. Just to pause, where are you guys at right now? Do you use terms like this now?
Not really.
Okay, cool. Then great. I love it. So UVGI is actually straight out of the ASHRAE guidelines, chapter 62. And the reason why they refer to it as UVGI is because that is actually the acronym or the term used for technology. So, and I'll show you in a little bit, you can't do UVGI applications in an HVAC application unless you're working with UVC wavelength bulbs or lamps, if you will. Bulbs, lamps, that you can interchange that. So basically there's different wavelengths of UV. There's UV coming from the sun, there's UV from tanning beds, there's UV from x-rays, and obviously there's UV that we care about, which is the most destructive and that can kill microorganisms, and that's what we care about today. And I'll clarify that in a little bit. PCO, that is the short term for photocatalytic oxidation. Say that 3 times fast. And long story short, we're going to show you a couple videos here in a second, just to make it even easier to understand, but that is the reaction or the catalyst process that happens when you're using a UVC wavelength bulb and you have products in the airstream that have a titanium dioxide coating on them. So without UVC wavelength bulbs and without a titanium dioxide coating, you cannot create this reaction that is called the photocatalytic oxidation process. And I'll have a video here to make it even simpler. The ionization component, nothing to do with UV at all. Ionization historically actually has been around longer than UV as far as integration, and then it kind of passed off for a little while, and now it's made a comeback in recent years because there are some people who don't want to use UV, or they're adding this in as well as UV and as well as PCO to kind of kick things up a notch for like maximum indoor air quality. And I have a video for that as well. So let me switch over to screen share here, and I'll play that for you guys now. All right. Go big screen here on this one. All right, so here's gonna be the kind of animation here to help you understand PCO. I hope if I restart that for you.
It works. The UV Photomex Advanced Oxidation Module is coated with an exclusive titanium dioxide formulation. When UV light is applied to the surface, the titanium dioxide coating becomes energized, causing it to release electrons. The electrons then combine with oxygen to create what are known as superoxides. The titanium dioxide then collects replacement electrons from moisture in the air to become charged particles known as hydroxyl radicals. Together with the superoxides, a powerful photocatalytic oxidation, or PCO field, is created. As odors, germs, mold, and other VOC organic molecules approach the PCO field, they are disassembled as the oxidizers pull electrons from them. The purification process is completed, with the remaining molecules recombining to form simple water vapor and trace amounts of carbon dioxide. Ultravation's advanced oxidation process.
All right, so the short skinny on that video is simply, you can have just regular UVC technology, actually UVGI technology with UVC lamps in an HVAC system. And then you can level it up by adding in PCO like this. The advantage of PCO process is that it is literally, as they use the term in that video, creating a field around the device. So as the air is passing through it, besides being, if you will, attacked by the UVC light coming off of the lamp, you're also gaining this invisible PCO field that is created from that reaction process. And that helps break things down, like VOC molecules and other airborne contaminants. It's great for deodorization. I actually have a product in my ductwork right here, right now, that actually has this type of process with carbon as well. So I could cook with garlic, bacon. Actually, I have no problem in my house smelling like bacon. So garlic, other things, and I have an 11.5-year-old coonhound who likes to roll in deer manure. Let me tell you, that stuff removes all the odors. It's amazing. So that's what's happening with a PCO field, as they use in the video, is that you are getting that reaction process in the ductwork. So as the air is continuously being pushed through the system, pulled back through the return, pushed back out again, it's always passing by that process. And that can be happening 24/7, 365 days a year with a product that has that on it. And you're going to gain that added air purification process. So that's what PCO does. So there's different products. That video showed it with metal. We've got it infused on carbon, like I have in my house. There's different ways you can go about using it. But as the video ended with there, once it passes through that field, it breaks it all down, and all you're left with is, you know, water vapor. So there's no more dangerous chemical smells and things of that nature. So the other video that I'm going to show you here is going to be ionization, and no audio on that one. But the advantage of that one is it's just going to help animate for you guys what is going on with ionization. So the short skinny on the ionization is we have an ion generator. That's what's shown at the bottom here, and it's creating negative and positive ions. Why does that matter? It's the same thing basically as a thunderstorm when a lightning strike, you know, goes across the sky. It's electrically charging everything in the atmosphere. So they figured out, oh, that's exactly, we could do the same thing. It is going to help obviously purify the air with that process. But the other benefit of it is you can actually, let me restart that, you can actually improve your filtration. So even if you're not using our high-end filters, which have a static charge to them and everything else, you could be using anybody else's filter. If you mount an ion generator like this in the return right before the filter, you're going to basically help the filtration process, because what's happening there is those negative and positive charges are attracted to each other like a magnet. So these micro particulates that you literally can't see to the human eye are going to help attract to each other, kind of plump up, and that is going to help the filter catch them more. So there's a lot of particulates in the air that we cannot see, things like dust mites and things of that nature, but much smaller than the human hair. And not all filters are created equal. So this is a way to kick things up a notch. And we even have this technology, which I'll show you a little bit, installed in our induct UV products. So you actually have a product I'm going to show you here that actually has the PCO as well as ionization in it. So we've just had a lot of requests, and we said, well, let's kick things up. Some of the competition is doing the same thing. Let's make sure people have all that tech available if they want it. So that's getting those three buzzwords out of the way. Here is an image directly from the ASHRAE Handbook. This mock-up is not the most fancy. The ASHRAE Handbook could use some graphic design, but it at least helps you guys see that we're not making this stuff up. They've had this called out for years. I pulled this from the 2019 edition release. They're showing you how you can use UV lamps, around a coil area to keep a coil clean. They're showing it in these mock-ups here, how you can actually also add it into the supply airstream to help with that as well. So I always like to show this on video, especially when it goes out public on YouTube, so people understand that you, Shawn, Meier Supply, and myself, we're not pulling this out of the air. Like, this is literally documented. It's been used for years in the industry. The biggest thing that they call out in the handbook for chapter 62, and that reason why I keep calling out chapter 62, is because that is the chapter dedicated to understanding UV lamps, UVC wavelength light, and obviously the applications here. And the biggest thing they call out is, are you addressing surface area and or airstream solutions in a home and or business? And I call out links here on the right because we do have all of this stuff linked on our website, so it's easily found. Like if you went to smsteam.co, which is our website, Ultravation's website is very robust. It can be overwhelming because they make so much technology. So we've gone ahead and pulled this stuff out, made it very, very simple on our page for Ultravation, and we put in all of our resource links, including, I found out that ASHRAE was kind enough to release chapter 62 as its own dedicated downloadable PDF that you don't have to pay for. So we have that linked on there as well. So if you ever need access to that, you don't need to go buy the entire ASHRAE guidelines. We found out that they made chapter 62 public, so that makes our lives a little bit easier. All right, let's clarify UV. This is so important for consumers to understand. I've actually pushed videos like this out to the consumer base over Facebook as well already, as well as YouTube. As I hinted, there's X-rays and there's visible light. And then in between that, in the wavelength spectrum from UV, you got UVC, UVA, and UVB. We have seen products in our industry advertising UVA, but as far as ASHRAE is concerned, and as far as the CDC guidelines, you need to have a actual UVC wavelength bulb. So in that situation, you need to make sure every technology piece you're installing in an HVAC system is using a UVC wavelength bulb. That being said, reason why, it's the most destructive component of UV light. So yes, UVA and UVB are also coming off of a lamp like this, but the most important thing is it has to be UVC class. So, and again, all these bullet points just clarify, it is the most destructive form of UV light. At 254 nanometers, if you want to throw that buzzword out there, this is the most dangerous form. So that's why every single piece of technology that Ultravation designs is using a UVC wavelength bulb, residentially and commercially, that will literally kill things on the surface and in the air. And that's why everybody from the ASHRAE to CDC and everybody else is calling that out. All right, so that being said, here's where we clarify the terminology. If you want to be aligned with ASHRAE, you're using UVC wavelength lamps and or bulbs, if you prefer to call them that. But if you are applying them, for example, on a coil, the third bullet point here, then you could say, great, because I'm installing products using UVC lamps, I'm actually applying UVGI technology on the coil. If I'm installing a product in the airstream for air purification, then great, I'm applying UVGI technology in the airstream. We also have commercial applications examples. So I'm just helping people use the right terminology. You can, obviously, as I hinted, add in products that use titanium dioxide. If you're applying titanium dioxide coated products to create that PCO, then you're still providing UVGI technology in the airstream because you're using a UVC bulb, but you're also adding in PCO. Those are still considered two different forms of technology. So that's just to help clarify verbiage and get the buzzwords out of the way. So now we're going to clarify, not all bulbs are created equal. People think they are. I got people I trained last week that were, they had customers buying UVC bulbs off of Amazon, coming out of China, Korea, you know it, and they have no idea what quality they are, what level they are, etc. So One thing I like to clarify right away is we actually have two different kinds of bulbs. Our higher end solutions, T3 is our standard bulb because it is our patented design. So most bulbs from all the manufacturers, including ours, we have entry-level bulbs. You'll notice in the fine print, all manufacturers, as far as I know, are going to tell you that bulb is guaranteed for 2 years. That is correct. The bulb will stay lit up for 2 years. If it fails, meaning dies before 2 years, then you can get that bulb replaced under warranty. Doesn't matter if it's us or anybody else. The clarification here is a standard UVC wavelength bulb is actually only a 9,000 hour life bulb, meaning from a PM standpoint, you guys should be changing the bulbs annually. So because once you've had that bulb lit up for 24/7 in an HVAC system, there's a life cycle. It's burning through, it's emitting that UVC wavelength 24/7. So at the end of the year, you got a 9,000 hour life cycle. You've probably burned through, depending on the environment, anywhere from 40 to 60% of its potency. So that's why they want you to change manually. Our T3, that is a 2-year life bulb. So it's still 2-year warranty, but you actually get 18,000 hours out of the bulb. The reason why is because our patented design, we've encased the bulb in another layer. It's a quartz sleeve, and between the bulb and the sleeve is a gas layer for insulation. Why is that important? Well, you know, from wintertime to summer, the temperatures are fluctuating all the time in an HVAC system. It depends what the thermostat wants to do. So the other issue is, depending on the filtration, you may or may not have a cleaner system than others. So to remove a lot of these variables and to ensure that the bulb is always reaching its peak burn level, meaning intensity, and not being affected by cold air in the spring and summer, that's the advantage of this design. It's insulated. So a standard UV bulb on this graph down here, including our entry-level bulbs that we also sell, 9,000 hour life cycle, standard bulb, you're going to get about 70 to 80% efficiency and potency of the energy off of that bulb because that's a standard bulb. You put a T3 in, same bulb, it's just now it's encased and protected. Well, now we can help that bulb reach its full intensity and get that 100% capacity out of that. So you're going to get about 40% more energy out of a T3 class bulb than just a standard entry-level bulb. So all of our commercial solutions, that's standard. All of our higher end lifetime warranted, basically the Indux solutions that I'll show you a little bit, all have either at least this or a dual lamp level bulb that has a 2-year life bulb in it because we're putting out the best stuff. And then we've got some entry level stuff too, which I'll show you that Meier works with as well, because some people are trying to help people get these solutions, but help with a price point, make them affordable, especially people putting their toe in the water and they don't really understand this stuff. So that's just something to keep in mind. So besides clarifying T3 versus regular bulbs, this is an important graph. You guys will really benefit from this. We pulled this out of our commercial education because you'll notice it's blue and green. And at the bottom, it says UV Matrix SI and UV Matrix AS. That's just our model numbers of our commercial solutions for either surface versus Airstream. The reason why we have this is because, again, going back to our question, if I'm stepping into a homeowner or a business owner and they're saying, okay, I want something. And you're like, well, okay, great. What are we looking to solve for? If you're just looking to keep the HVAC system clean, i.e., for example, the coil concerns, right? Helping prevent contaminants from growing on the surface. Well, you could stay in this blue zone, right? I'm dealing with a surface level solution. I'm putting lamps on the coil. It's going to help, it's going to help some of the air passing through the coil, but its really job is to keep that coil clean. And you'll notice at the bottom, going to the top, starting at the bottom, these are all surface level stuff. You don't need to be a scientist here. I'm just clarifying that for you. E. coli and these reoviruses and Bacillus and pox viruses, these are all surface level contaminants. But as you go up the chart here to the top, now you're passing through the influenza sections and getting up into ecovirus. So those are more airborne related concerns. So if I'm just installing a coil solution, great. You can say, once I get up to ecovirus, yeah, I'm keeping that coil clean. But as far as ecovirus is concerned, I'm only at about just under 24% effectiveness for efficiency and dealing with this. If I'm truly trying to solve for airborne spores and viruses, then I have to also add on an Airstream solution. So I'm getting the best of both worlds. So we always try and clarify this because people think, well, I'm just going to put bulbs on the coil and I'm done. That's fine. If that's all the customer wants, they want to make sure their system's clean and you're helping them do that, cool. Put lamps on the coil, done. That's what I originally did for the past 2 years in my system. And then this year, I finally added in an Airstream solution to get that deodorization benefit and really kick it up a notch for airborne viruses and things of that nature. So remember this, because I'll show it to you again later. And we have graphics on this stuff too. So this is a quick little high level. I'm going to break this all down, but we target everything from large particulates, from pollen, dirt, hair, etc. Obviously filtration targeting, down through microparticulates, up and around the molecular level and up to the biological. So whether you're starting with filtration, which I tell people, you can put all the best UV in your system in the world. If you're putting a cheap, 1-inch Home Depot air filter in, you clearly don't care about your indoor air quality. So we try and clarify that for a lot of people. That's why we work with MERV 11, MERV 13 class filters. We don't have the pressure drop issues with other companies' designs. I have the graphs to back that up. Not all filters are created equal, just like UV lamps. We have the Orion generator for ionization, as we went over. We have Meier Supply stocks our M series for ductless and UV applications for mini splits. We even have portable room solutions if you don't have ductwork. Actually, Meier Supply has also stocked some of these and ordered these over the past couple of years. So this is for a solution if you have, for example, no ductless, no ductwork, and you're just trying to deal with a 500 square foot space or less. And then on the bottom here, as we move up around the right-hand side, this is normally a standard stock item by Meier Supply. They just ordered a bunch more. This is our Advantage product with a carbon upgrade. You can just put the lamp in by itself. This is our entry-level product, actually. We were one of the first companies in the past 5 years to create a product that was a throwaway design. So it helps keep the price point down. These bulbs are designed differently. You just grab that black module, pull right out of the unit. I'll show you that a bit. And we have beefed up versions, and then we move into these higher end in-duct solutions with just air purification. So we got a lot of stuff going on the residential front. As I hinted, this is a standard item that Meier Supply launched with us with. Again, you can just get the bulb, and you can get it in 12-inch or 17-inch lamps. You can get it magnetic mount option or not with accessories. Most guys are hard mounting them. You can put these, we obviously target this as a coil recommendation because I can just mount this right over the coil. As long as that UV bulb is mounted within 12 inches of the coil surface, it's getting the job done. And that's why they make it in a standard 12-inch and 17-inch. That's going to really help address most residential coil applications from A coil to N coil, et cetera. Again, we show this with the carbon accessory because we're trying to keep teaching people that, hey, if you've already put a lamp on the coil, how could it hurt to not throw on a carbon accessory quick and gain a little bit of deodorization and air purification benefit? Granted, this specific design, a single lamp with a single strip like that, is not going to address a 3,000 to 5,000 square foot house, but it's definitely doing better than nothing. So this is, again, entry-level solutions. We're helping people try and scale them up. Again, you can get these in 1 year or 2 year lamp. Obviously, if it's a 2-year lamp, that is our T3 class bulb, so you're going to get that higher efficiency out of it as well. So there's a lot of variety there, and it's, like I said, when we brought this in, this was to help people say, great, I can get a product that's literally the cost of a higher-end UV lamp by itself, but as a throwaway design. The issue with this is you have limits. Once you go past that single strip of carbon, there's no more scalability to it. We did create a beefed-up version of this. We have the Advantage PowerPC. It's the same lamp modules, so nothing's changed from the Advantage line. The difference is the apparatus. So you'll notice on that design, we took the single strip of carbon, we added on 2 more metal panels, which increases the amount of surface area with that titanium dioxide for PCO. So this product, that's why they call it the Power PCO, is we're giving you even more PCO reaction. And this is a standard product, like it has to come this way. It doesn't have that scalability like the basic entry-level Advantage. This only comes as T3. It comes with that apparatus as standard. Once you install that for example, in the plenum right over the coil, I can just come back every 2 years, pull that module out and slap a new a T3 class Advantage lamp bulb in there. So again, you're going to get a lot more PCO out of this model versus the single strip of carbon by itself as an accessory on the standard Advantage. And again, you can get this in 12-inch and 17-inch. Again, same lamp modules as the last slide. So now, since then, these are our higher end solutions. The Solaris is the top ordered one right now because, and I'll show you a cross comparison here in a bit with our competition, this one has UVC lamp in it. Our T3 is standard. You cannot go below T3 for this bad boy. And you also have ionization built into it. So we have, most common competitor out there is, for example, RGF's Remy Halo. That one gets thrown around a lot. So we like to bring this one up because ours actually far exceeds their design. And I'll show you that in a little bit. Here we actually have a comparison. So this is our lifetime warranted solution. Once you install this in the ductwork, you're just going to come back and change that lamp every 2 years. The advantage of our design also is you can add on, you'll notice in the notable options here, you can add on a lamp module. So as I hinted earlier, are you solving for surface area and or airstream? So the advantage for a contractor on this nicer design is your install is going to be easier because all you have to do is wire up the Solaris power head. And then when you add on one of our accessory lamps, these easy lights down here, 12-inch or 17-inch for the coil, that will Y-jack right off of the Solaris power head. We give you a wiring adapter, comes right out of the head. So you only have to wire the Solaris, but the Solaris has the ability to power both devices. So you, again, per the mock-up here, you put a coil lamp in, you're good to go. So again, the advantage of this design is you're getting the UVC, you're getting the higher 40% efficiency T3 class bulb, you're going to get deodorization because we actually have twice as much metal surface area wrapping around this device with all the titanium dioxide on it to get your PCO. And we have ionization electrodes in there, so it's generating that thunderstorm fresh air as well. So now, after that design, I have to clarify this, we do have our catalyst. So the catalyst is important because this is your solution. It does not have ionization. This is still lifetime warranty. This is what's in my house. I'm going to be flipping this house into a rental. So I don't ever want to worry about somebody claiming that there's this possible ozone-y smell, because ozone is a byproduct of UV and especially PCO. So technically the Solaris cannot be advertised as a 100% ozone-free product. It is scalable though. When you take that power head off, we can actually adjust it. We have an adjustment rod in there that you can actually have a 4-inch range of adjustment on the amount of PCO being generated into the ductwork from this device. And the adjustment is ranked by CFMs or square footage, whatever's easier for you to calculate. So the cool thing is you can scale this and adapt this accordingly. With the catalyst, there's no need to do that. There's no ionization in here, so you don't get the thunderstorm fresh air, but I have 3 full strips of carbon on this thing. So all that carbon is pulling the ozone byproduct back into itself. And our carbon is self-cleaning thanks to the UV reaction, thanks to the PCO reaction. So this is what I put in my ductwork just to keep myself simple. Again, just like the Solaris, lifetime warranty. So if anything goes wrong, you just pop this power head off and we send you a new power head and plug it back on, you're good to go. The rest of the install can stay in the ductwork. And again, scalability, we can put in add-on bulbs, 12-inch, 17-inch, whatever you need for the coil lamp. Same wiring process as the Solaris. You just wire one thing and add it on. One thing I want to clarify too is in the bottom here, I always note on all my slides, homeowners cannot order replacements. Why is that important? Well, again, I joked around about Amazon earlier, but there's a lot of people out there trying to find bulbs on Amazon or on the internet, and they're just kind of winging it. This is a pro trade company only. We don't deal with that. We're not going to deal with that. We only work with professional wholesalers like Meier Supply. For you guys, the pro trade. If for some reason you find our lamps on the internet, it's probably a contractor who might have ordered a ton of them and then decided to set up his own little store on Amazon. Unfortunately, we can't always shut that stuff down. But again, the whole point of this technology is it's pro trade only. So I want to clarify something on the Solaris. So this is your cross-reference we put together. I hinted earlier, the module on the right here is the Remy Halo. The one in the middle is another competitor by a company called APCO. And again, Remy's not the brand. Remy is actually a product from RGF. So RGF is actually the manufacturer. And then obviously we have our Solaris on the left. So the reason I like to bring this up is we far exceed everybody's design on this on purpose. So it's very high tech. Real quick on terminology, since we just went over PCO earlier, you'll notice that the Remy and ours is called active PCO, but the APCO one is called passive PCO, active versus passive. What does that mean? Because APCO's has a strip of carbon on there, that one is ozone free. So that's what passive PCO means. Because the Solaris and the Remy Halo are not carbon and they're not absorbing that ozone by themselves, it's considered an active PCO, which means you will potentially have an ozone byproduct. And that's what, if I actually had my catalyst on here that I just showed you next to the APCO, then that would be listed as a passive PCO device because again, they have the carbon. So Difference is carbon and metal both have the titanium dioxide on it. It's either you're going zero ozone or you're going for adjustability. Again, as I hinted, these are higher end. Our Solaris has a dual band frequency bulb, higher end solution, 2-year life. Ours is a dual amp bulb. APCO's is a 12-inch single band, and the Remy Halo is a single band 16-inch. Again, catalyst surface, meaning the amount of reaction going on. Our design has 2 layers thick of metal spaced apart around all 4 sides. So you're getting 200 square inches of metal surface with the titanium dioxide on it. So all of that is creating much more PCO reaction for more purified air. The APCO design, they've got a single strip of carbon with 2 fans of metal coming off, kind of like our PowerPC Advantage I showed you earlier. So they only got 6 carbon blocks on there. They don't have a ton of metal surface area, so you're gonna get a little bit less PCO on that. And again, the Remy Halo, due to its cylindrical design, you're only getting about 26 square inches of metal surface area creating the reaction. So again, we got more. Construction, we build everything in Vermont at the factory, so we can give you better quality. Ours is stainless steel and aluminum. APCO's is aluminum, and RGF's Remy Halo is plastic and aluminum. Again, titanium dioxide across the board, everybody's doing PCO. PCO adjustability, this is your important design clarification. APCO's is not designed to be adjustable because they've got carbon, just like my catalyst. On this one though, our Solaris has got a 4-inch adjustment range, and we're never blocking the UV. So the UV is still doing its job. We're just adjusting the amount of reaction from the PCO and the titanium dioxide that we're generating. Whereas the Remy Halo actually has a 2-inch adjustment range, and the way their adjustment mechanics work, you're actually restricting some of the UV exposure. And if you ever open up the boxes and compare them, you'll be able to play with that and see that. So we like to call that out as well. And we actually have electronic lamp monitoring on that power head. So it's easy, you just walk by and you look at the alert. If it's failing, the homeowner will know if nobody else is doing that. So again, we got some more advanced tech here. Again, we have ionization included inside the device in the module. APCO did not do that, and Remy Halo did do that, but they have 2 electrodes, we have 4, so we're doing twice as much ionization generation. And again, nobody's doing expandability. So as I hinted, you should always start with the coil and then go to air stream. We give you that ability. You can scale it on either the Solaris and or our Catalyst product. Nobody else is doing that. So easier wiring. Ours is true lifetime, the entire device. So we don't care. So lifetime warranty, just change that bulb every 2 years. APCO's is also lifetime, so kudos to them, obviously excluding the lamp. And then the Remy is not. A lot of people don't read the fine print. You got a 2-year on their PCO, you got a 5-year on the ballast, and then this is their fine print. No warranty on parts that are outsourced. I don't know what that means, but I guess everything that they might have gotten from somebody else, like the ionization electrodes technology, I guess they're not warranting that. We don't care. It's lifetime across the board. We're not going to get into that. So that's the Solaris. Helps you guys to see that and understand that more. Again, there's a zoomed in version of that double panel metal design going all the way around. So as the air is passing through the ductwork, we got all that field being generated. It puts out a very, very high-end titanium dioxide PCO field to help you guys air purification. There's that Easy Light add-on that can be put onto the Solaris and or our catalyst that I have in my house. Again, simple Y-jack quick connector design. Very easy for installs. So that's highlighting those induct products. We can move on from that, unless you have questions, obviously, but I'm always happy to pause if you need to. Everybody's muted, so unless somebody needs to clarify that, let me know. And actually, you know what, real quick, since I talked about the catalyst for your benefits, I do have this open already. This is what I have in my house. That's the catalyst. So again, same high-end power head. Again, you're doing 3 strips of carbon, creating the PCO field as well, but because it's carbon, 0 ozone. That's some of the reaction process, again, you saw from the video. And again, we actually ship it and box it compressed, and then it helps reduce the size of the hole you have to cut. And then there's actually deployment levers on the left and right-hand side of the bulb when the power head's off. So once you've mounted this and installed it, you just flip those rods open, it deploys them to increase the surface area exposure. And obviously the mount is behind the power head, it's all gasketed. And then as I hinted, you can add on your lamp bulb for the coil and get the best of both worlds. Again, lifetime warranty product. So And that's what I threw in my house just to have a zero ozone solution. If I want to gain the ionization that I'm missing from Solaris, I'll just install the Orion product next, which that's the ion generator. So again, this used to be listed just as a commercial product. Meier's been selling this for a while. We get great reviews, but this is our universal kit for ductless mini split solutions. So whether they're installed in a house or installed in a business, you can help keep that environment cleaner as well. This is actually an actual install that I did with a contractor in the Poconos of Pennsylvania, who was a Meier Supply customer, and we did a live demo in their office. And they had a very disgusting, dirty coil that they never cleaned. So, because we're the reps for Speed Clean, we went in and had them demo the Speed Clean products. They cleaned the system, and then came back in and upgraded it and threw our M series into that install. So again, if you do this type of install, because these are UVC wavelength bulbs, you're putting UVGI technology into a mini split ductless system. We give you the ability to use one or both bulbs, and it's auto sensing too for power. So don't worry about how that system was wired before you worked on it. We don't care. Just tap the power off and run it, because you're just powering really, really tiny bulbs. So, and they're directional, and they have shielding wrapped around them. And actually, I had to give a shout out to Jack Knight, because Jack is the first one to get us going with Meier Supply with this exact product. So we never did any business with observation years ago until Jack saw the benefits of this product and brought it in. So thank you, Jack. So again, there's the ion generator. We actually generate probably 3 times the amount of ionization than our competitors do. So we're very proud of that. It is more of a residential to light commercial targeted product. You can put this on PTAC units. You can put it on ice machines. We have UV4 ice machines, but we like to call out both versions if you want them. And you can externally mount it or internally mount it. The electrodes coming off the side there actually flip. So per that mock-up there, if you want to flip them and mount this on the outside of a ductwork, for example, or you have a tight space, don't worry about it. You can mount to the outside. As long as you drill 2 little holes and put those into the airstream, you're going to be able to generate those negative and positive ions. So like I said, if I want to have the technology I'm missing from the Solaris, this is what I would add into my system. And again, I would put that on the return right before the filter. As I hinted, we do high infiltration. Meier Supply actually stocks our support boxes here. We color match them to the equipment, and we have MERV 11, MERV 13 class filters, and we put in 32 feet of pleated filter in our 5-inch filters. That's one of the reasons why we don't have the pressure drop issues, because we give you more surface area, so we don't have to weave them as tight. And I have the graphs to back that up too for system design. So straight throughs, right angles, big, nice high-end support boxes, access from the front and the back. We powder coat them to match any brand of equipment, not just Meier's. If you happen to sell another brand, you can still get your filter boxes. Meier will match any you want. And we do the private labeling. So we will actually screen print the doors with some high-end decals to make sure your brand represents nicely on the job site. So that's the end of the residential stuff. Shawn, actually, I'm gonna unmute you real quick. Do you dive into commercial at all? Actually, you have to unmute yourself, sorry.
Can you hear me? There we go. Yeah, the whole process of this, I got a doctor's office, a dentist looking for UV lights to get ready to start opening up, and trying to get the right products for those fine folks.
Okay,
there.
Cool. I figured so, because Jack obviously referred you, and he's big on the commercial stuff. So the good thing is, this is a lot easier. It's good that you understand everything else, because some of that tech from the residential side does bleed into the commercial world. We've been doing commercial a long time. We do a lot of stuff for medical properties and things of that nature. There's technically 5 versions of our UV Matrix series. They're all called UV Matrix. As I call out here, these are the 4 most popular right now that we're talking about. SI, S meaning surface, AS means airstream. The 4X is because that enclosure is a NEMA 4X rated waterproof enclosure for rooftops on the roof. And then this upper room is something newer we're calling attention to. We've actually been making it a while, but we never really pushed it a lot here in the States. And it was bigger over in Europe. But for wide open spaces, this is a new thing we're trying to call attention to, so people understand that there's other solutions available. So this is your question for your client, your customer. As I hinted at the beginning of this training, what are you solving for? Do you just want to keep the system clean so nothing is being produced as a negative, right? You want to keep coils clean. That's our SI racks there in that mock-up. Here's a mock-up of an Airstream solution, right? We're addressing a main air supply duct before it distributes air out across office spaces, et cetera. And I would like to remind people, hey, blue and green, right? Am I starting at the surface level and then we're going up to Airstream solutions? So that's an important question to always ask. What are you solving for? What is your disinfection rate? What are you looking to achieve? So benefits of the coil irradiation. Obviously, this is our telescoping rack design. It actually is shipped compressed together, and then you just pull it apart from left to right and then mount it and install it over a large coil surface area. There's obviously different sizes and dimensions of this depending on the sizes of the coils you're working with. And then we also then can decide and determine how far apart the bulbs are mounted on the rack as well. There's a lot of competitors out there that they're selling the big, long, 22-inch bulbs, but they're not designing the rack system, so which is funny because we have an easy light version. We have an easy light with our 22-inch bulbs, whatever. You can just, it comes with a reflective shield, and you can decide where to mount that thing anywhere in case you don't have the room for the rack. But for larger commercial solutions, we want to make sure everything is racked properly. The spacing is probably set up for the right disinfection rate over top of the coil surface, especially if you have these tall coils where you may have to go 2 or 3 racks high. But the biggest thing here is we found, back in the day, we used to mount, bulbs 24 inches apart vertically. And then as goals for higher disinfection rates increased, they found that, okay, let's make sure these are mounted about maybe 12 inches or 14 inches apart vertically. So that actually is a good little tip for you on rack design is how far apart are the bulbs? What is the level of disinfection they're looking to achieve? A lot of companies are fine getting a 70 to 80% disinfection rate on a coil surface with something like this. Others are now asking, hey man, I want to get that 90 percentile. Well, then we got to have the bulbs closer together, and that may decide that, okay, that model may switch from instead of a 2-lamp design, like 2 rows, we may have to go up to 4 lamps or 6 lamps. And that's how our SI kind of changes, is the pricing only changes based on the quantity of lamps. The design doesn't change, right? All the wiring is on the left and the right. The ports to mount the bulbs are right there. We put them on the far left and the far right to remove as much hardware out of the Airstream as possible, all right? So we want to make sure when you walk into that rooftop that we don't have all this power and wiring stuff blocking as the air is going through the coil. Plus we want a maximum UVC wavelength exposure over that coil surface area. So that's just part of the tips there from a surface level design. You are gaining some Airstream disinfection, but as I hinted with the blue and green graph there, right? The SI is primarily targeted at keeping that entire coil area clean, and you are gaining Airstream disinfection because air is passing through that. But if you're truly trying to gain maximum disinfection rate for airborne viruses, we really need to talk about other solutions being added on, like the AS series, which I'll show you in a second. If you don't have rack space that are that big, and you have smaller rooftop units, this is the other option. Besides our easy light option, this is the option if you want to have all the power, all the wiring outside of the equipment, because everything is contained in that casing, and then you're just cutting 2 holes or 1 hole because we have a 1 lamp version, a 2 lamp version. So you might just have a small coil and you just want to get that bulb in there. This is a real easy way to do that. And then everything is waterproof, everything's outside, and this will help you work with some smaller units on rooftops, for example. That's what this one's targeted for. Again, you're going to benefit surface area plus Airstream because of that design. And then, as I hinted with the other version, this is really the Airstream targeted way to address commercial big supply ducts. You can get this, 3 lamps, 4 lamps. This is the AS series. This is not targeted at coil. This is primarily focusing on gaining a higher disinfection rate on a main supply duct before the air is distributed across a office complex, et cetera. We can scale this too. We have the ability to upgrade this and add in photocatalytic process if we need. If they want to add PCO in. A lot of designs people are asking quotes for haven't asked for it because they're just going for standard UVC disinfection. But it's nice to know you can do that. And then as far as design, this is the upper room that I was hinting at. This is new. So if you have, I don't know how that doctor's office is laid out, but let's say maybe it's a big campus. Maybe they have a giant wide open cafeteria, big massive lobby, any kind of wide open spaces. The upper room is called the upper room because it has to have at least a 7-foot ceiling height or higher, because this is meant to be mounted up high. Why? There's no fans, there's no blowers. We fabricate this box at our factory, just like our filter boxes. It can come in stainless, it can come in powder coated, but it just has 2 UVC bulbs in it, and then a louver panel in front of it to dissipate the light and keep the light up high across the top of the room. Why is that important? Well, here's some images. We're trying to get that upper air irradiance, is what they call it, because there's natural convective air in large, wide open spaces. You have cold air along the floor, warm air rises to the top. So with that natural flow of air, they figured out this upper room application to increase wide open spaces and help create cleaner air. These units aren't very big. As you can tell, there's only 2 bulbs in them. So they're pretty small and compact, and they're really designed for about 225 square feet. So if we brought up, for example, the ASHRAE Handbook, which I do have, they actually show this in the handbook, and they show you using it in a application for like a wide open hallway. They also use it in other areas too. But this is a common design that was, like I said, used overseas, and now we're seeing it make it. People are looking into this for wide open spaces here on our soil. So again, the whole goal here is obviously air closest to the unit is going to get maximum disinfection rates. As the air dissipates outward or further away from that device, it's not going to have as high level of disinfection rates. And that's why we basically quote it as a 225 square foot device, because you may need in a large hallway or a large wide open space, if they decide to go with something like this, they might have to go a little bigger. So you might have to have 3 or 4. You might have to have, I don't know, if it's a huge, massive hallway, going 6 or 7 of them down the hallway. Whatever it may be needed, you can do that with this type of device. So, and actually, just trying to find it here. Here we go. You switch the screen share to the ASHRAE Handbook. This is what I was talking about. So here's the mock-up. It's like section 6 of chapter 62. They're specifically calling out, I'll zoom in here, the upper room. So talk about how, hey, this is an example, like this mock-up was taken out of Brazil, but they show you how they actually put these above all these doorways in this massive wide open hallway. I don't know if they have any ductwork at all. Obviously, I'm not in this Brazil application. This other image here, they're showing you in a large cafeteria space. So this is actually at a hospital in New York City a long time ago. I don't think this hospital even exists anymore because this is an old image. I don't think St. Vincent's is out around. But as you can tell, they were using upper room for a long period of time. So again, they're always calling out UVC fixtures. So you got to be using UVC wavelength bulbs. So again, this is also in chapter 62. This is public information. And so you know that we're not just making up this design either. So that's basically a quick overview on the commercial side of things. Again, we have the ability to really address anything from a commercial solution. So at this point, that would answer everything from the residential and the commercial side of observation. I'm going to actually stop recording. So if we have any Q&A, we can hang out.